TNA continued their house show success. The group, which was promoted by Hermie Sadler, still promoting the house shows, drew a sellout of 1,100 fans at the ECW Arena on June 9th, my birthday, in a show that was never once mentioned on TV, says Dave, even though technically, well, like, they had angles from it on TV, but I guess they never promoted the show on TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, Team 3D did a promo from the building that aired on TV, and then the angle in the James Gang, the throwing the chairs in the ring thing, also aired on TV.
Do you think that was part of them, like they wanted to do the chair throwing thing, but they wanted to be legally not liable for anything that could go down, so they're like, let's do it on the Hermie Sadler show.
Yeah, if a fan gets hit by a chair, it's Hermie that's liable, not us.
Yeah.
I hope they're that cynical. They're like, we want to do this really cool thing, but we don't want to get sued. So Hermie, how you feeling?
And let's not tell it.
Regarding wrestling at the former ECW Arena last weekend, one TNA wrestler says it was a refreshing change. It was a lot of fun, says the wrestler. It blew me away. Maybe it will give TNA management the idea they can run there regularly. The crowd at the ECW Arena was said to be a mix of hardcore regulars who might attend Ring of Honor and CCW events and casual fans who saw TNA on Spike and decided to find this building so they could see TNA stars. Another TNA wrestler described the crowds at Orlando's TNA Asylum like a church crowd where everyone knows where they sit. They're used to us and they've seen everything. They're numb to things that the ECW crowd went nuts for. It would be a good place for a pay-per-view, I think.
Yeah, I think the mix should be like, we do TV, one pay-per-view, then TV again, and then we go somewhere else for the second pay-per-view. Because I think you still need to give the Impact Zone big shows. You can't just give them the shit. You do need to give them stuff to look forward to as well. But like, every couple months going out and doing a pay-per-view on the road, I don't think is a bad idea.
Yeah, like the crowds were hotter in the Impact Zone last year, and they can still be quite hot. Like if you watch the James Gang against Team 3D, they're hotter for that than they have any right to be on the pay-per-view. It does open the pay-per-view. But the crowds aren't as hot as they were, but also the shows probably aren't as good as they were either. So that might be a fair exchange. The crowd is only as good as the shows.
Yeah, I think the crowd will always follow the show. People give way too much credit to like, ooh, they've seen everything, but it's like if you have good wrestling shows, the crowd will respond to the good wrestling.
People, and they still do it today when like, oh, that's a good AEW crowd, a bad AEW crowd, and like people tend to treat the crowds like they're like this externality. They're completely detached from like the quality of the product, and you get a hot crowd in one city and a bad crowd in the other, and who knows why? It's the thing that happens where it's nearly always in direct proportion to how hot is your product, how good is your show. If your product is cold, even a good show might get a bad crowd. Yeah. If your product is hot, even a bad show might get a great crowd. So it goes back to like, are you hot? Do people care?
Much like everything in life.
I'm hot, right, Liam?
Do people care?
Wait a minute, you didn't know. Jushin Liger came back from TNA saying that he'd like for the relationship with TNA to continue. He said the guy he was most impressed with was AJ Styles, who he'd like to bring to New Japan. Liger also threw out the first pitch at the Lot Orions game on May 20th in Chiba. Not relevant to TNA, but it does feed into our little baseball corner.
Oh, great. Let me just lay back here and fall asleep.
Baseball Today on the 20th of May had a short segment.
Me.
Had a short segment on AJ Pierzynski.
Honk shoe. Me.
Had a short segment on... God damn it. Had a short segment on AJ Pierzynski and the TNA X Division title belt that he wears around. The segment mentioned AJ Styles as the real X Division champion. He's not. However, the same day on SportsCenter when Pierzynski was mentioned as he got punched in the White Sox club's brawl on their May 20th game, it was brought up that he had WWE experience during off-season, which he also does not.
Really rude.
This is the downside of like particularly the smaller company chasing all the press attention.
Yeah. I feel like that's one thing AEW's been good at, is controlling their PR to be like, you will talk about us and our name, you will not get us confused.
Yeah, but then like 2 months later, they're still just WWE, you know?
I think they've done a pretty good job for the most part. I haven't seen a lot of like miscategorization, occasionally, but like I feel like they've done a good job of making themselves distinguished, and like their PR team obviously is just that, but like yeah.
There was a recent instance where somebody was called a WWE wrestler. I can't remember what it was, and it's on the tip of my brain. I think it was like a TMZ story. It was still like WWE wrestler, but yeah. As a general rule, you are right.
They're pretty good.
Terry Taylor was officially named Director of Talent Relations. He's been kind of the unofficial person in that slot all along. His role is to be in charge of contract negotiations and signing new talent. He's going to be working full-time in Nashville and will probably move from Atlanta. It's considered a step upward for Taylor, and being in Nashville full-time will likely make him more powerful when it comes to direction. So Terry Taylor, signing people.
Consolidating power.
He's taking over the company.